today we will speak about trending user acquisition strategies. My name is Meral and I'm co-founder of Hypermonk Games and Reason Consulting. Hypermonk Games is a self-publishing studio, and Reason Consulting is a company which helps publishers and studios to grow their games and to learn growth operations. I want to introduce my colleagues right now, Eado from Digital Turbine and Kate from Remerge. Kate, ladies first, please introduce yourself.
Yes. So hi, my name is Kate. I am a senior account manager at Remerge. Remerge is basically a mobile DSP. We're helping our clients to re-engage users through in-app advertising. So basically, our main product is retargeting. We're also developing UA solutions for post-DFA world. And yeah, I would say that our strongest suit is scientific measurement, is incrementality in particular, so really trying to understand the value of retargeting. And yeah, as an account manager, I'm mostly managing mobile gaming companies and like casual, hardcore, midcore ones.
So Eado, that's your turn.
Yeah, hey, my name is Eado, and I love Turkish food. Really love it. I've been basically at Interactive, which was later acquired by Fiber, which was later acquired by Digital Turbine. So I've been there now about 6 years. What I do is I manage all the accounts in EMEA, Director of Account Management, us at Digital Turbine. So we have one side of monetization and UA, and we also have a special side of on-device solutions, which we offer to carriers like Verizon and AT&T and different OEMs and manufacturers of phones, where we can see the users come in from these carriers and show them very special ads.
Thank you, Eado. We can start with our questions. Our first question is, what changed after IDFA? What are the new user strategies after IDFA changes? Maybe, Eado, we can start with you.
Yeah, so when all that happened, everyone got super stressed out. And yeah, that was a hard day. But later on, we realized that contextual was actually one of the best solutions from our side. And we added a lot of new signals, contextual signals, with like which kind of impression, which impression on a session, what is the language that the user is using, what is the battery status, the different network that the user was using, and many more. And this definitely did give us a very nice increase, and we still see it until today. We see the demand buying it more and more. The second part that we saw a lot once all that came down was diversification of demand, right? So what does that basically mean? We've seen kind of a renaissance to our offer wall product, which is a really cool product where users can go into the certain page and complete certain offers and receive certain virtual currency. We saw a lot more brand coming in. We see now all these really cool new features, the audio ads and all these in-play games thing. So that's another really cool thing we see. And still, I guess it's still going to evolve, and soon we're going to see what happens with Google, right?
Yeah. So Kate, please, can you answer the same question?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, the whole industry is still shattered by like the privacy developments, and well, the good news is that like still there is quite a large amount of traffic which is identifiable. So like 50% of the traffic still has IDFAs. So basically, with these users, we can still do business as usual, both on retargeting and user acquisition side, and we can like measure these results deterministically. I think like during this conference, like many speakers talked about like how to improve the opt-in rates. Like yesterday I was at a session and one of the speakers like told about like for example, if you decide to show opt-in, you would want to do it like on your like first launch, because it really improves the opt-in rates. And yeah, another thing is that like non-ID traffic is much cheaper than ID traffic, obviously. So basically, this is like one of the things. Another thing not to ignore is probably that iOS users are like, they're in general more valuable than Android users, so that can really compensate for the like decreased user base. So yeah, we still do run a lot of retargeting campaigns on iOS. But yeah, I would like agree with Eado that if we talk about like the future development, it's all about contextual targeting. So basically, yeah, you can leverage and source a lot of signals, like device OS, some general information, I don't know, like the rough location of users, the events which are happening, the day of the week, for example, and you can like you can use the signals to build really customized campaigns, and in particular in regards to creatives. So basically, I think in contextual targeting, it's all about creatives. You have to really serve the right message at the right time. Like one example could be, for example, it's Friday night, Friday evening, and like food delivery apps may want to like serve their ads to users because they're hungry and. So yeah, it's Oktoberfest in Germany, and you want to like integrate some elements of this to your ads. So yeah, and another point is probably at Remerge we're also developing, as I said, we're working on incrementality, and we are developing solutions for post-IDFA world. So like one of the product solutions that we're working on is causal impact. So basically, we can measure the incrementality of test and control group, and we can understand, like, it's similar to how you measure like TV flights or the ads that you run on TV. So basically, yeah, that's one of the solutions that we developed.
Thank you, Kate. So our second question is on mobile gaming in both casual and hyper casual. There are two phases when we are launching a game. Those are soft launch and hard launch. Eado, on an ad networks perspective, how to separate soft launch and hard launch on your site?
So we obviously see a lot more publishers using Android for test. So that is something that we definitely started seeing ever since the IDFA deprecation. But what we do at Digital Turbine is we help facilitate more and more testing. So basically, we have our own mediation platform called Fairbid, and with it, you can upload all the instances of all the networks. So you don't have to create them manually, which is, we know it's a lot of work for all the monetization teams, and we can do certain A/B tests where we can see what is the correct way to go, what kind of features we want to add to the game, and as many as possible features to help automate things. There is obviously bidding as well, which, well, we know that some of the networks are bidding really well, and some of them are either not bidding or not bidding so well. But we do assume that in the year 23, we will see more and more bidders. We will see more networks optimize their bidder, and that will help us doing more tests on soft launch and hard launch.
Yeah, thank you. I have also an answer for that question. From hyper-casual perspective, soft launch is really important for us to understand three things at first. First one is scale, which is really important for us. Second is monetization, understanding playtime and ad counts together. And also ROAS, return on advertising spend, is also really important to go hard launch. And we are opening every ad network at the same time on studio site to understand which networks better and which networks have better quality users. And according to these results, we are trying to push those networks more and the other networks less. And the optimization starts after then. With this way, we can have better learnings and better scales on our games, actually. Our last question, Kate, I will first ask to you. All we know that every network, ad network, have different user behaviors. So how can we increase retention by doing user acquisition? That's my question.
Yeah. I will be like mostly talking about it from retargeting perspective again, but yeah, we at Remerge believe that like user acquisition just by itself is not sufficient, because it's like many studies have shown that almost like 90% of the users will churn, newly acquired users will churn within the first 7 days. So basically, your investment on user acquisition will be like pointless in this regard. So basically, it's really important to build a robust retention strategy from day one and try to like keep the attention of your users because the market is highly competitive. Basically, yes, like one of MMP platforms even ran a study. They compared like 2 sets of users, newly acquired and retargeted ones. And retargeted users showed like on average 150% more re-engagement rates, 40% more revenue. So basically, yeah, this is it. And basically, it's cheaper to work with already like acquired users because like it's more expensive to like really acquire new users. So yeah, and like one probably interesting fact is that like on average a user needs like at least up to 8 quality touch points in order to make a decision regarding conversion. So if you are just like acquired users, probably it's too early for this user to convert. So if we talk about like advice regarding the retention strategy, so like first would be like think about the segmentation really well. Like you have to read all the signals of these users and you should understand like, for example, when is the high time for the user to convert, or when it's the time for user to churn. So you have to really preempt all of these things. Like one example could be like the abandoned cart for user in e-commerce, right? It's probably like would be wise to remind the user to finish this purchase. Or I don't know, like in gaming, like a user tried to attempt a level 40 several times unsuccessfully. So you may want to help this user to like make a purchase in your app to facilitate the journey. So second one would be creatives. You have to really like develop customized creatives. Deep links, like you have to like facilitate user behavior within the app, make the user land exactly in the page that you want them to land. And yeah, the third one would be incremental measurement, because with UA and retargeting in particular, you may wonder like, am I stealing my organic traffic? So incrementality is the answer to this. You can really understand whether the purchase would have happened if you hadn't run the like your advertising activities. So yeah, that would be.
Eado, what's your opinion on that question?
Sure. So I want to touch on the offer wall, in fact, because you mentioned like users might not spend money, and there are certain users who would never spend money on the game, unfortunately. But we want to allow these users to enjoy the game as well, right? Yeah. So that's why we have the offer wall. And with the offer wall, an offer can be go to level 30. And get to level 30 and you'll get a certain amount of virtual currency. Now, I think that's pretty good for retention, right? The user now is in level 30. I think he's probably going to stay in the game. So this definitely helps us increase retention, a happy user. The next thing is what we do see a lot is a made-up word by a very big publisher called churniness. So basically, probably going to be in Oxford Dictionary in the next couple of years. But basically is whether or not a user is about to churn, or how much of a chance is there for a user to churn. Did the user churn from the last ad? Who was basically the last network who showed a user an ad that he churned after it? And And when we think about churniness, it can be from different reasons. It can be due to the fact that there was a bad ad, a broken ad, or something like, I don't know, like porn or, like other kind of things like that we don't want to see in our games. But sometimes it's because the ad was so good or so aggressive that the user just churned, right? And we are looking for the right balance where we don't just snatch all the users outside of our games. We obviously see this in many of the hyper-casual studios throughout the years. You're playing a football game, and then suddenly there is a football ad, and that's it, you lost the user. So we have received a certain scale from, like I said, one of our biggest publishers, which showed certain networks that are more prone to cause a user to churn, and we see that some of the publishers, they treat these networks differently. So they might give a premium to the networks who don't have as much churn. What is anti-churn? Brand, right? So no one's going to churn because of a Coca-Cola ad or because of a Toyota ad. So we need to diversify our demand. We need to find more and more brand. When you think of it, basically, ads UA, to some extent, it's a bubble. And we see it now. We've seen it now in the last half a year. Where's the money going to come from? Either it's going to come from IAP or the VCs. Poor VCs, they lost a lot of money recently. And or from brand.
Yeah. So I have also some comments on that question. Basically, in the past, on hyper-casual side, we didn't care about retargeting or offer walls at much. But now we need to use them because sector is changing and retaining users are really important for us. Before that, we can earn some money without good retentions or without good playing time. But now it's a must to have a lot of retaining users and also a good play time. So now we are seeing that offer walls are also starting to work for also hyper-casual games. And I think that in near future, we will try to use retargeting campaigns also on the hyper-casual side. That's my opinion on that subject. So
I just want to add to that, like cross-promo, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like cross-promo is doing a renaissance as well. Basically, like you realize how much you're about to, you can realize that so you realize how much you're about to get from a user, or you realize according to certain events in your game that a user is about to churn, then you can probably cross-promo him to, another game. And even in the IDFA deprecation time, you can do this according to an IDFE.
Yeah. Thank you for your answer. So we finished our question. If you have any questions, we can answer them. Do you have any questions? So thank you all. Thank you for listening.